Welcome to this 5-minute masterclass on altered tensions. If we take a 2-5-1 in C major, the simplest way we could play that would be D minor 7, G7, and C major 7. So they're 3-note voicings. We could also add some extensions in, so instead of just playing 7th chords, we could play D minor 9 to a G13, and then to a C6-9. We could also extend further and play D minor 11, G13 to C major 13. Now if that stuff's new to you, check out the course on chord extensions where we explain exactly where those chord extensions come from. For the purpose of this masterclass, I'm going to explain how I see the altered tensions. Now there's only 4 of them. So let's take the 2-5-1 in C major. And for that G7, we would have the Mixolydian Mode. And this Mixolydian Mode, it contains no alterations. We just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and back to 1. Then we have the altered mode, which contains the roots, flat 9, sharp 9, major 3, sharp 11, sharp 5, flat 7, and root. So we have these 4 altered tensions, and then as well as the root 3 and flat 7. And so I'm going to explain how I view each one of those alterations and also how I'd like to resolve them into the 1 chord. So we're going to start with the flat 9, D minor 11, G7 flat 9. So first of all, with each of these, really just play it a few times and listen to how that sounds on top, and listen to where it wants to go. I always like to resolve these either up a half step or down a half step. And the same with my voice leading from the 2 chord. I'm always looking for extensions that are close by. Listen to how that sounds on top. Has a very soft sound. It still has a tense quality, but it's very soft. Next, let's look at the sharp 9. So D minor 11, G7 sharp 9. And you should immediately hear the difference between this and this. So the sharp 9 is very sharp and jarring, very dissonant, and that's because it's only a half step away from the major 3, but here I've voiced it an octave up. And again, think where it wants to resolve. I either see it going up a half step or going down. So I like to see those half step resolutions up or down. Next we'd have the sharp 11. Now this one has a completely different character. D minor 9, G7 sharp 11. And listen to that compared to the flat 9 and the sharp 9. Very different. This one has like a floating quality, and it wants to resolve up to the 9, perhaps down to the root. But if you are going to go down there, you don't want to play the major 7, because that will give you that half step. So if you're playing the root in a major chord, the 6 is a nice place to go, so a major 6 chord. So D minor 9, G7 sharp 11, and C major. And then the final one, we'd have the sharp 5, D minor 11, G7 sharp 5, and I find this is not quite as soft as the flat 9, but also not quite as dissonant as the sharp 9. It's kind of like in between. And again, I see that either going here, maybe there. I like that sound coming down. So these alterations, they sound the same in every key. If we take a black key, how about the key of D flat major? We could do the same thing. So E flat minor 9, and then we could play A flat 7 flat 9. And listen to that sound. It sounds the same as, it's the same quality. It's not the same note, but the texture created is the same. And that wants to resolve either down to the 5th or up up to the 13 of the 1. Then the next one we could do E flat minor 11, A flat 7 with a sharp 11, and for me that wants to go up to D flat major 9. In another masterclass I'm going to talk about combining these alterations, but for now, the exercise that I want you to do is just to take these around all 12 keys. So we can move to a 2-5-1 in F major. First of all, let's do the flat 9. So G minor 9 to C7 with a flat 9. I do have the 13 up there, so we could drop that out. But even with the 13, it adds a little bit more colour on top, but what I still hear ringing out is the flat 9. And next we could go to G minor 11, so now let's put the sharp 9 on top. And listen to how different that is to the flat 9. And then we could do the sharp 11. And finally the sharp 5. The exercise that I'm setting you is to take those 4 alterations around 2-5-1s in all 12 keys. The alterations are different notes in each key, but the colour and the texture created is always the same. So for example, if you hit the flat 9 over any 5 chord, it will always give you the same type of tension, and the same applies to the other 3 alterations. And so being able to hear this will allow you to make more informed choices when you are playing over jazz standards. In the next 5-minute masterclass, we will talk about combining these tensions to create more harmonically complex, altered dominant chord voicings.